Hello everyone. Today we will be discussing about milling of pulses in the lecture series Cereal Pulses Legume Process Technology. So under milling of pulses, we will be reading about different methods by which pulses grains are milled. Okay, like from raw pulses which you get after harvesting. So how these are produced or how these are processed to what you eat in your kitchen, like what you get into your kitchen. Okay, so first of all, let's read about the composition of your pulses. So in the composition, we'll see about carbohydrates. We have carbohydrates around 55 to 65%. Okay, so carbohydrates in pulses, as we have already discussed in our first unit, are around 55 to 65. In case of pulses, proteins comparatively higher to other grains. We have 18 to 25% protein in pulses. Then we have fat around 1 to 4%, moisture around 10 to 13%, which is adequate for longer shelf life of your pulses. The ash content is around 2 to 4%, and crude fiber around 1 to 2%. So as per the structure, if you see, so here we have a structure depicting your pulse grain. So outermost covering of your pulse grain is your testa or the hull, as we call it. Okay, so for the purpose of milling, we need to remove the hull, and then we need to break the cotyledons into two. See, generally we have two cotyledons in your pulse grain. Okay, so we need to break them into two in order to get the final product out of milling. So in most of the cases, in most of the pulses, we get two cotyledons from one grain. Okay, so we'll read about how this is done. So first of all, let me introduce about pulses. Like pulses are rich in protein, mainly consumed in the form of dehusked split pulses, as discussed. So pulses, what you get in your kitchen is in form of dehusked split pulse. That is, the husk is removed, husk or the hull is removed. After that, the pulses, which generally pulse grain has two cotyledons, so they are broken or split into two halves or the two cotyledons, termed as dal. Okay, so in general we call it dal in Hindi. So pulses in Hindi are called dal after they have been split into the two cotyledons, and are the main source of protein in vegetarian diet, as it is believed. Okay, so the operation of dehusking and splitting pulses is termed as pulse milling. So this operation of removing the hull or the husk of the pulses and then splitting them or breaking the cotyledons into two or the individual cotyledon is termed as your pulse milling or your dal milling. Okay, so pulse milling requires large amount of abrasive forces for complete removal of the tightly held husk, leading to high losses in form of broken and powder. That is, your pulses, see, the hull of the pulses or the husk of the pulses is tightly attached to your cotyledons, but you need to free the cotyledons. So in order to do that, in order to remove the hull or the husk, we require large abrasive forces, that is huge amounts of abrasive forces in order to remove the or break the hull. Okay, so in order to do that, see, when we apply more force on your pulse grain, so what happens, your cotyledon also gets broken into two, or instead of splitting, like it will split, but individual cotyledon also gets broken into parts, or sometimes powder is formed. Okay, so due to high adhesive forces between the husk and the cotyledon, we require large forces, which in turn leads to high losses in form of broken and your powder. Okay, so the main purpose is splitting, removing the hull and splitting the dal into two portions, or the splitting the cotyledons into two portions. Okay, so next we will see methods of pulse milling. See, generally in pulse milling we have mainly two methods. First one is wet milling and the second one is your dry milling. Okay, so in India, pulses can be milled by two most common methods. First is wet milling, then dry milling. So there is a basic difference between wet milling and dry milling is, in wet milling you use water for loosening of husk or the hull, while in dry milling you use oil mostly. Okay, however, the dry milling method is more popular and is used commercially. Okay, because it yields a better quality milled product or your pulses or dal. Okay, so before moving on to your individual method, let's read about every all the steps that are involved in milling in detail, and then you can better understand the wet milling and the dry milling method. So moving on to the methods or the operations that are involved in milling of pulses. So first one is your cleaning and grinding. So as soon as the raw pulses are received from the fields, so what happens is they need to be cleaned and they need to be graded. Graded in the sense, if lower quality pulse is there, so they need to be separated out from high quality pulse, okay, because high quality pulse will fetch the farmer or fetch the company a better rate compared to the low quality pulses. Cleaning is required because during harvesting there are chances that various straw or other foreign bodies may enter, stones may enter while harvesting. So first of all you need to clean and then grade your pulses, okay. So the raw pulses received from the plant needs to be cleaned and then size graded, that is based on the size the pulses are graded. Like if a larger size pulse is there, they will fetch a better price compared to the lower size. For getting good quality dal and higher recovery. Also why we need to grade based on the size, because grading your equipments like rollers, rubber roller or emery rollers are there, so the clearance between those rollers can be adjusted based on the size of the pulses. So if higher size pulses are there, the clearance has to be increased compared to the smaller size, so it makes the milling easier if they are graded, okay. So to get a good quality dal and higher recovery, okay, higher recovery in the sense, suppose you are putting a higher size pulse grain into lesser clearance, so it will get broken, right? So we can separate out the larger grain from the smaller grain and then we can adjust the clearance based on that in order to get a higher recovery, okay. So also after every dehusking operation, the grain lot has to be subjected to sieving to separate out husk, broken, split. This gota is your pulse grain only, okay. In like local language they call it gota, okay. So separate out husk, broken, split gota and whole pulses. That is, after every dehusking operation you need to sieve or you need to clean it or you need to separate out the different parts that have been dehusked, or after every operation that has been separated out. Suppose like if you are dehusking, so after dehusking, after every round or every pass of dehusking, see, dehusking cannot be done in a single pass. If you pass it in like after every pass, you need to separate out the dehusked pulse from the undehusked pulse, and that undehusked pulse you need to send again for dehusking, okay. So husk is removed, then brokens are separated, splits are separated, the grain is separated. This is the your pulse after removal of hull which has not been split into cotyledons, that is your gota, okay. And the whole pulses, okay. So these whole pulses, they can be sent again to the beginning for dehusking, okay. So that is why, like for higher recovery, otherwise this would have gone waste. For higher recovery you need to repeat the process, okay. So this was your first step, that is your cleaning and grading, or the first operation in pulse milling. Further, under cleaning and grading, normally two types of cleaners are in use, which are reciprocating air screen cleaners and reel screen cleaners, okay. So what happens, air is being utilized to remove the particles which are lighter from the heavier particles, okay, in this reciprocating air screen cleaner. So your reel screeners are better than the reciprocating screen cleaners due to the following reason, which are reel screen cleans operate at a low noise level, that is not too much noise is there in a milling industry or in a milling unit. If you go, so there will be a lot of noise, but if compared to your reciprocating air screen cleaners, your reel screen cleaners will make less noise, okay. It requires insignificant repair, maintenance, expenditure, okay. So the expenditure in maintenance is low or repair is very low. Its power requirement is almost half as compared to reciprocating cleaners. The power consumption by reel screen cleaners is almost half of that of your reciprocating air screen cleaners. It causes less dust pollution, that is the dust, like during sieving, dust escapes from the these sieves. So in case of reel screen cleaners, this dust pollution is less, okay. So the dust escape to outside is very less. So these are the advantages of using reel screen cleaners, so which is mostly being used in industry nowadays. So next we move on to the next operation of pulses, that is your drying of pulses. Okay, so under drying of pulses, we'll see pulses received from farmers or from the fields, they may have a different varying amount of moisture content. Okay, so this needs to be brought to a normal level or to a optimal level for more efficient milling. So pulses received from farmer, mandis or traders generally have higher moisture content. Okay, the moisture content also, the moisture content in different varieties or different farmers pulses purchased from different farmers may vary. So in order to bring it to a uniform level, we need to dry the pulses to a same or uniform moisture content level. Okay, thus some degree of drying is essential before it is considered to be fit for storage and milling. Okay, drying becomes essential to bring about the separation of cotyledons during the splitting operation. That is, if your pulses are not dried, they are not dry enough, they have a higher moisture content, so splitting of pulses will be very difficult compared to when they are dry. Okay, drying imparts makes it easier to remove separate out the cotyledons in the grain. Okay, so that is why it is necessary, that is first to bring the moisture content to a uniform level so that more efficient milling will be there. Secondly, drying makes the splitting of cotyledons very easy. So this was second operation in pulse milling. So in under drying of pulses, generally most of the traditional mills adopt sun drying. Why? Because it is cheap, it is free of cost. Okay, so most of the traditional pulse mills utilize sun drying for drying during the dry season due to economical reasons and have cemented floors. That is, they have a separate backyard which is fully cemented floor where they spread the pulses on the ground and they keep it for sun drying for several days. Okay, sun drying is done for 1 to 6 days. Okay, as per the requirement, by spreading the pulses over floor into a thickness of 5 to 7.5 centimeter. Okay, so the layers in which they are spread over the cemented floor is 5 to 7.5 centimeter. Nowadays, mechanically heated dryers are used for drying of pulses. The temperature in these dryer may be around 60 to 120 degrees Celsius. So using mechanical dryers or automatic dryers makes it easier or makes it less time consuming for milling of pulses. Okay, so see, compared to the sun drying which takes around 1 to 6 days for drying the pulses to a normal level, that too it is not uniform compared to your dryers or automatic dryers which will give you a uniform moisture content, right? Plus you can adjust the temperature based on the requirement, and also it is less time consuming. It will narrow down the time consumed or the time taken for pulse milling. Okay, so after drying, your next operation in pulse milling is pitting. See, this pitting may not be required in some type of drying. So later we will read about in which type of or in which method of milling pitting is required and which it is not required. Okay, so what happens in pitting is clean pulses pass through emery rollers. Okay, so this after cleaning and grading and then drying, so these dried pulses, they are passed through emery roller machines in which the husk is cracked and scratched. That is, you need to make it porous or cracked. You need to crack the hull so that if we are going to condition it or we are going to pour oil on it, so that oil can penetrate to the cotyledons. Okay, so pitting helps facilitate oil and water penetration process for loosening of the husk. See, before dehusking, see, we have already read or we have already discussed that a husk is tightly attached to the cotyledons, right? So in order to loosen the husk from the cotyledon, what we need to do is we need to pit or we need to put it soak your pulses in water or oil. So before doing that, we are doing pitting of the pulses. That means we are passing it through emery rollers to crack and scratch the surface of the hull, right? So by doing that, we are making it easier. We are facilitating oil and water penetration to the cotyledons. That is, the oil and water can penetrate through the hull to the cotyledon. During this operation, some of the pulses gets dehusked. That is when we are passing it through emery roller, like some pulses which are very loosely attached, so they may get dehusked and split, which are then separated by sieving. See, we have read earlier, sieving is required after every operation, like which will and every operation in which we are passing it through some sort of roller, or we are performing some mechanical or impact operation on the pulses, so sieving is required after that. So in this case also, when we are passing it through emery roller machine, so some of the pulses which are loose or which are not that much hard, so they may get dehusked or split or may get powdered easily. Okay, so we need to sieve it before passing it to the next stage. Your next stage is your loosening of the husk. So how do we loosen the husk? So effectiveness of this operation decides the total recovery, operation and quality of your milled pulses. That is, how effectively you are able to loosen the husk of the pulses or loosen the hull of the pulses will decide how much is the efficiency of the process or how much is the recovery of your final product compared to your raw input. Okay, effectiveness of this operation decides the total recovery. In general, loosening of husk is done by two ways. One is wet method, other one is dry method. Okay, so pitting help facilitate oil and water penetration process for loosening of the husk, as we have discussed earlier. So we are performing pitting so as to make it easier for the water or oil to penetrate through the hull into the cotyledon, which will make the husk loose, which will loosen the husk and make it easier to remove the hull. Okay, during this operation, some of the pulses get dehusked and split, which are then removed by sieving, as discussed. So in this case also, we can do that, sieving. Okay, so next under loosening of husk is wet method and the dry method. There are two methods as named above. So one is wet method of loosening of husk, the other one is dry method. So under wet method, what we are doing is, so in this method, the cleaned and graded pulses are steeped in water, that is, they are soaked in water for 4 to 12 hours mixed with red earth. Okay, so these steps are important. First is steeping, that is steeping with water for 4 to 12 hours, then mixing it with red earth for 12 to 16 hours, and later these are sun dried or simply dried using mechanical dryers to keep the moisture at a level of 10 to 12%. Okay, so under wet method, steeping followed by mixing with red earth and then drying. Okay, so steeping facilitates dehusking and splitting. Okay, when you are steeping it, you are soaking it in water, so water penetrates into the grain. It makes it easier to remove the husk. So longer the soaking period. See here we have mentioned that we are soaking it for 4 to 12 hours in water. So when we increase the period of soaking or when we increase the time of soaking, so greater is the loosening of the husk. Okay, and caving in the cotyledon on drying, that is cotyledons will come out easily on drying, and which makes it easy to mill, that is which makes the dehusking and splitting operation easy. Okay, thus increasing the yield due to the lesser breakage, that is this steeping makes it increases the recovery percentage of your pulses, because steeping makes it easier to remove the hull, and thus your pulses can be removed without any breakage, so it increases the recovery of the pulses. Now under wet method only, so the cooking quality of pulses is adversely affected as it takes longer time to cook. Okay, so when you steep it for longer time, so it takes longer time to cook, thus the cooking quality of the pulses is adversely affected when you increase the steeping time. Thus you have to balance both, that is you have to balance, it should not be too much, the time of steeping should not be too high and it should not be too low, so that the hull is optimally loosened so that it can be removed easily, plus it does not affect the cooking quality of the pulses. Okay, treatment with red earth is said to impart a good yellow color to the finished product. Okay, when we soak it or when we mix it with red earth, so for several hours, so it gives a yellowish color to your pulses, to the finished product. It also helps to remove small patches of adhering husk due to its mild abrasive quality. So when we are mixing it with red earth, so what it does, it makes it easier. First of all, it imparts a yellowish color to your pulses. Secondly, it will remove any small patches of adhering husk due to its mild abrasive quality. Okay, it is your red earth is mildly abrasive in nature, so it helps remove the remaining husk. The wet method being highly weather dependent due to longer period of sun drying and affecting the cooking quality of pulses. Okay, see, your wet method, it is highly weather dependent because it involves sun drying, right? So it is highly weather dependent due to longer periods of sun drying, plus it also affects the quality of your pulses. That is, longer the steeping time. When you steep it into water, the final finished product takes more time for cooking. Okay, so this is the disadvantage. So this is the disadvantage of your wet method. Okay, so next let's see about dry method. So in dry method, see, the disadvantage of your wet method was due to steeping in water. So obviously in dry method we will omit that step, but we will replace it with soaking in oil. So the scratched or pitted pulses are passed through screw conveyor and mixed with some edible oil. Okay, instead of water we are mixing it with oil like linseed oil, mustard oil, rapeseed oil, sunflower oil. There are different types of oil which with which you can soak it. Okay, so these are mixed and soaked with your edible oil, which will loosen the husk. Instead of water we are taking oil. Okay, husk oil or soybean oil. The quantity used is 1.5 to 2.5 kg per ton of pulses. That is not too much. Okay, that is not too great amount. Only 1.5 to 2.5 kg of this oil per ton of the pulses. They are then spread on the floor for about 12 hours for diffusion of the oil throughout the grain. Okay, so we are spreading these pulses soaked in oil for 12 hours so that oil can penetrate inside the grain. Okay, which will make it easy to remove the husk. Okay, it will loosen the husk, and in further dehusking operation makes it easier to remove the husk. Okay, so the major difference between your wet method of loosening the husk and your dry method is, in wet method we are using water, in dry method you are using oil. Okay, so your next operation is conditioning. So this is a step under loosening of husk only. Okay, so in loosening of husk under conditioning. So in conditioning under loosening of husk, what we do is, conditioning of pulses is done by alternate wetting and drying. That is, first you are soaking it in water or oil, then you are drying it. After drying, 3 to 5% moisture content is added for about 8 hours and again dried. Okay, so first step, you have dried the pulses after your like soaking in water or oil. You have dried it, you have brought the moisture content to a specific level. Now you will increase the moisture content by 3 to 5% and then for about leave it for about 8 hours and then dry again. So this cycle, okay, that is wetting it and again drying it, is repeated. The whole process of alternate wetting and drying is continued for about 2 to 4 days until all the pulses are sufficiently conditioned. Okay, so this process of wetting and drying is continued for 2 to 4 days until all the pulses, all the grains in the pulses have been sufficiently conditioned. Pulses are finally dried to about 10 to 12% of your moisture content. Okay, so after conditioning has been done, so the final moisture content will be reduced to around 10 to 12% of moisture. Okay, so after loosening of husk, your next step will be removal of husk, or that is called dehusking. Okay, so in dehusking, what happens is, pulse grains are subjected to dehusking in roller dehusker. That is, your roller dehuskers are there, right? We have studied in rice milling also. So what happens in roller dehusker is, this roller is coated with carborundum, which is a very abrasive matter. Okay. So what happens in this roller dehusker is, your roller dehusker, the rolls in this dehusker are coated with carborundum, which is a abrasive material. Okay, so this abrasive material will cause abrasion of the husk and will remove the husk. Okay, so the carborundum number varies for different pulses, and there are no fixed standards. That is, carborundum number means how abrasive, or what is the, like you can say, a size of the particles or size of the abrasion, whether it is too abrasive or very less abrasive. So it varies from pulses to pulses, and there is no standard or no fixed standard for any one pulse. Okay, it can vary depending on the quality of the pulses also. To remove the husk with minimum scourge of cotyledons, that is minimum powdering of the cotyledon, the conditioned pulse grains are subjected to mild abrasion inside the roller machine, removing around 10 to 25% of the husk in one pass. Okay, initially mild abrasion will be applied, in which 10 to 25% of the husk will be removed, and then like in one pass. Okay, some of the cotyledon mass is also scored, resulting in loss of the dal yield, that is total weight. Scored means the cotyledons will get powdered during this dehusking process. In turn, it will reduce the weight of the final product, because this powder, it will be filtered out during cleaning, okay, during final steps or polishing. Okay, so thereby this scourge of cotyledon reduces the final yield. Now under dehusking only, after passing the grain lot once or twice through the roller machine, the shelled husk, cotyledon powder, broken and split are separated by air screen cleaners. That is, you are dehusking, right? So dehusking, like after you have passed it through roller, your products will be your cotyledon, whole grains, husk and some powder of the cotyledon. So you need to remove, or you need to separate out or sieve out all these materials, so that the whole grain which has not yet been dehusked can be sent again to the dehuskers. Okay, so depending upon the intensity of husk adhering to the cotyledon, the pulse grain are passed through the roller mill for 2 to 8 times. Okay, that is depending on how easy it is to remove the hull from the cotyledon. So you will pass it again and again from the roller 2 to 8 times, so until your all husk has been removed. Okay, generally after 2 passes, loosening of husk operation is repeated, but at a decreased intensity. The intensity of this removal of husk is decreased after every 2 passes through the this roller mill, okay, or roller machine, so that there will not be any scourge of cotyledon, so that powder will not be formed from the cotyledon, which will ultimately lead to lesser yields. Okay, so after this what you do is, so more the number of passes through the roller mills, more will be the loss in the dal recovery. That is, every time you pass it through the roller mill, so some of the cotyledon will be powdered and your yield will decrease. So increasing the number of passes will decrease your yield. So due to this factor, that is by increasing the number of passes, the yield is decreasing. So in hard to dehusk pulses, so your recovery percentage is between only 70 to 75%, while easy to dehusk pulses, your recovery varies up to, like it can reach up to 85%. Okay, so this easy to husk and hard to dehusk pulses are dependent upon the cotyledon, if the cotyledon is easy to remove or it is hard to remove. So based on that, the recovery varies. Okay, then we have splitting. That is, after your hull or the husk has been removed from the pulse grain, you will go for splitting of the cotyledon into 2 parts. Okay, so splitting operation comprises of 2 steps, namely loosening the bond between the cotyledon and then splitting. That is, first, see, your cotyledons are bonded together, right? So first step is to loosen that bond, and then second step is to separate it or to split it. Okay, for loosening the bond between the 2 cotyledon, water at a rate of 1 to 5 kg per quintal is applied to dehusked pulses grain. Okay, that is your dehusked pulses or the gota, when the cotyledon are attached but the husk has been removed. So water at a rate of, or at a flow rate of 1 to 5 kg per quintal is applied and is stored for 2 to 12 hours. Okay, so this, after application of water or after putting in water, it is stored for 2 to 12 hours, which will loosen the bond between the 2 cotyledons, and then it is sun dried for 4 to 8 hours, either sun drying or through dryers. These are dried up to depending on the intensity of drying, so the time can vary. Okay, in case of sun drying, it is dried up to 4 to 8 hours. Okay, at this stage, the pulse grain, when hit against hard surface, so that is when impact is there, or when these pulse grains are hitting any surface with impact, so they will split into the 2 cotyledons. They will split into 2, thus giving an indication that the lot is ready for splitting. So this is how they identify if it is ready or not. That is, you hit that gota or your dehusked pulse against a hard surface, and if the cotyledon split into two, it is an indication that the lot is ready for splitting. Okay, so now what will happen? We'll go for splitting. Now splitting can be done through several machines like under run disc sheller, impact machine, roller mill. Hitting the pulse grains against the metal sheet at discharge side of the bucket elevator are used. That is, through a bucket elevator, there is a discharge side in the bucket elevator, right? So those are hit against a metal sheet, so that impact will cause the splitting of the cotyledons. Or there are other different machines for this purpose also. One is under run disc sheller, then impact machine, roller mill. Okay, so these are the ways by which you can split the cotyledons. At many places, dropping the conditioned grain, okay, after adding water, so and keeping it for some time and then drying. So what you do is you drop those grains against a cemented floor from a height of 3 to 4 meter roof. Okay, thus splitting the grains into two, or splitting the cotyledons into two parts. Okay, that is, from roof, which is around 3 to 4 meters, you're throwing those grains on a cemented floor, on a very hard floor. The impact will cause the cotyledons to split. Okay, as such, in this operation there is no significant loss of cotyledon mass. However, the embryo attached to the two cotyledons, you see, when we studied the structure of your pulse grain, so in any seed or in any grain there is an embryo or the germ which causes germination of the grain. So this germ or the embryo during this operation will get like loosened, or it will be lost while the cotyledon is being split into two. The embryo is lost, thereby causing a loss in dal yield of about 1.5 to 2%. Okay, see, suppose when you are like throwing, or you are splitting these two cotyledons into separate part, so the embryo during this process gets lost, which in turn decreases the recovery rate by 1.5 to 2%. Okay, so after splitting, what we do is we polish the rice. So polishing the rice can be regarded as the last step in milling, okay, before packaging, obviously. So in this last operation, that is polishing before packaging, pulses are imparted with a glazing appearance to improve its consumer acceptance and market value. That is, they are imparted with a gloss or a shine so that they will attract the consumers. Okay, depending upon the need, different material like water, oil, soapstone powder, etc. are applied to dal surface. So this will help. See, water will help remove any powder that is left over on the surface during the milling process, while oil will provide a luster to the surface. Or for providing luster, soapstone powder is also used, which will smoothen the surface of your pulses. Okay, in some cases, removal of sticking powder from dal surface is considered sufficient to improve its surface glaze. That is, instead of applying some additive or some other powder or some external agent, so just removal of the powder which has stuck on the surface during the milling process, just washing it off is regarded as sufficient for polishing. Okay, so next, in polishing, we will see different types of polishing or different methods of polishing. First one is removal of powder or dust. That is, as discussed during milling, certain type of like milling or dehusking operation, the powdered cotyledon will adhere to the surface of your pulses. So these need to be washed off or removed. So cylindrical rollers mounted with the rubber mat or leather strips or cylindrical tapered emery rollers are used for the purpose. The dust particles sticking to the surface are removed by gentle rubbing action of the roller surface. That is, when these pulses or the milled pulses are passed through these emery rollers or rubber rollers, so this surface, when they are passing through the touching the surface or passing through the surface of these rollers, so this force is sufficient to remove that powder on the surface or the dust on the surface of pulses. See, the speed and the size of roll is similar to dehusking roller machine. Okay, so in dehusking we are applying force. We are applying some force in order to or abrasion to remove the husk. but in this case we need not apply that much abrasion or force. We are simply passing it so that it comes in contact with the rubber roller, so that it will remove the powder on the surface of the pulses. Okay, second polishing is water polish. So under water polish, it is used for dal like it is used for dal like. So under water polishing is used for dal or pulses like urad, chana, masoor, arhar dal. Okay, so in this 1 to 1.5 kg of water per quintal. Okay, so you need to remember this, 1 to 1.5 kg per quintal of pulses grain is applied, that is water is applied in per quintal of your pulses. 1 to 1.5 kg of water is applied while passing it through any one of the polisher mentioned above. So we mentioned under disc roller or different type of polisher we mentioned, right? So water when we are passing water, when we are applying water around 1 to 1.5 kg per quintal of pulses, so that will also help you remove the any dust or the powder on the surface of your pulses. Then after that is your buff polish. So this buff polish is another kind of polish in which around 2 to 2.5 kg of water along with 200 to 250 grams of oil per quintal of dal is applied with above polishers. When we are passing it through polisher, so along with water, certain amount of oil is also added. If water added is 2 to 2.5 kg, then your oil added is around 10% of that, that is 200 to 250 grams of oil. Okay, it is applied while passing it through the polisher. This type of dal is preferred in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra and Delhi. So this type of polishing is done in these particular states. Okay, although it is not restricted to these particular states, but is more common in these states. Okay, so under polishing, next type of polish is your nylon polish. So in nylon polish, what is happening? Soapstone powder or salkhari powder, that is in the amount 1 to 1.5 kg per quintal is applied to the surface along with water. Okay, in the last case in buff polishing we were applying oil with water, but in this case we are applying soapstone powder or salkhari powder around 1 to 1.5 kg per quintal to the surface of pulses along with water. Water is around 1 to 1.5 kg, equal amounts, by passing through the polishing machine. Okay, so what will happen, this soapstone powder or salkhari powder, they have certain abrasive property, mild abrasive property, which in turn will polish the surface of the pulses, giving it a luster, okay, or a gloss. A set of screw conveyors arranged in a battery for repeated rubbing is used. The flight and shaft are covered with nylon rope. Okay, so these are covered with nylon rope to impart gentle rubbing. This is used mainly for masoor, moong and tur dal and urad dal. Okay, so with the help of these nylon ropes which are covering this screw conveyor, so it will impart a rubbing action. This nylon rope will impart a rubbing action on the surface of your pulses. Okay, which in turn will polish the surface of pulses. Okay, so after nylon polish we have Telia dal. Okay, this is a particular type of dal in which particular method is used for polishing. So around 2.5 to 3 kg of castor oil is mixed per quintal. Okay, it is mixed in 1 quintal of arhar dal to make it look glossy. So castor oil is simply being added to arhar dal. It is being applied so that oil will give a gentle lustrous feel, right? It will give a gloss to the surface of pulses. This is known as Telia and is considered to be popular in Gujarat. The storage life of this dal is short since you are applying oil. So the storage life or the shelf life of dal decreases comparatively. Especially this is castor oil. Okay. So this was the last method of polishing. So after polishing, what your pulses are ready to be packaged. Okay. Now these were the basic operations that are performed during milling of pulses. Now let us read about different milling operations or methods. So first one is your wet milling method. So under wet milling method, what is happening here is you can see through this flow chart. This is your raw pulses which are arriving from the farm or the fields, which are first cleaned. Okay. After cleaning the shaft, dirt, etc., these are removed. Okay, now after cleaning, these are soaked or steeped. See, since it is a wet method we have discussed earlier, so these are steeped into your water for certain time, so that water can help penetrate or loosen the husk, so which are then mixed with your red earth. Okay, and then left for conditioning. Okay, after soaking and mixing it with red earth, these are left for conditioning for certain hours and sometimes days. So after this operation has been completed, so your hull will be loosened or husk will be loosened and will be easy to remove under the process of dehusking. So after dehusking has been done, then we go for splitting of the cotyledons into two. So after splitting, you will get a mixture. After this operation, you will get a mixture of husk, small broken and powder, and also whole pulses which have not completely been milled. Okay, so these needs to be sieved. Sieving needs to be performed after this operation, and after sieving, the whole pulses which you get. Okay, so whole pulses or whole grain which you are getting may like in this case the husk may not be completely loosened or appropriately loosened, so these need to be loosened again and again, sent into the same process. Okay, so after dehusking, after splitting of the grain into two cotyledon or splitting into individual cotyledon, grading is done. That is based on the size. Grading is done. After grading, these are packed. You will get your dehusked split pulses, right? So these are then packed as per the quality. See, a larger pulse size will give you fetch a greater price. So based on that, these are packed separately and are sold into the market. Okay. So now under wet milling, pulses are soaked in water for around 2 to 8 hours as discussed prior to drying. Indifferent to dehusked pulses like arhar, urad and moong dal, the soaked pulses are treated with red earth before it is dried in order to give it a yellow texture or yellow color. Okay, so after drying, the pulses are subjected to dehusking and splitting as discussed, and then after dehusking, further grading, cleaning and like sieving, grading and packaging is required. So here you may include one another step, that is polishing, which is optional. Okay, but minimum polishing is required, that is removal of the powder or dust that has stuck to the surface, okay, during your dehusking operation. So after wet milling is your dry milling. So in dry milling, what is happening? So after you receive raw pulses from the field, these are cleaned. After cleaning, pitting is there, that is scratching or breaking the hull of the pulses in order to facilitate penetration of water and oil. So after pitting, pre-treatment will oil is there. In like in that case we were soaking it in water, right? In wet milling, here we are pre-treating it with oil, then conditioning, leaving it for some time so that oil can penetrate, further dehusking and splitting to remove the hull and split the cotyledons into individual half. Then a mixture of husk you will get with small broken and powder, sometime the whole dehusked pulses also, or whole pulses which not have been dehusked, so that will be sent again after sieving. Okay, so after dehusking and splitting, grading is there, then polishing, followed by packaging. Okay, so this is the basic step or basic flow chart for your pulse milling, with the difference in basic like 1 or 2 steps in wet milling and your dry milling. Okay, that is in dry milling, treating it with oil and it is helping you to loosen the husk, while in wet method or wet milling method, you are treating it with water. Okay, so in this method, after cleaning and grading, the pulses are subjected to pitting, which produces scratches, dents and cracks on the hard seed coat. The pitted pulses are then smeared with 150 to 250 grams of oil per quintal of pulses, stored for 12 hours to 3 days. Okay, in further loosening the seed coat, it is treated with 2.5 to 3.5 kg of water per quintal of pulses and stored overnight. Next day, after drying and cooling, it is subjected to dehusking and splitting. So this is your basic method of like dry milling method of your pulse milling. Okay, after this there is another method that is improved or modern CFTRI method of pulse milling. So in CFTRI method of pulse milling, you will get a greater recovery compared to your traditional methods. So this method eliminates mixing of oil and water for loosening of husk. Okay, it does not involve mixing of oil and water in order to loosen the husk. Okay, clean and graded grains are conditioned by dry heat. Dry heat treatment is given in 2 passes in a LSU dryer with 120 °C hot air. That is, instead of mixing your pulses with oil or water, you are giving dry heat treatment. That is, you are passing it through LSU dryer, which will heat it up to which utilizes hot air up to 120 °C in order to treat your pulses or condition your pulses, generally done in 2 passes. Okay. Grains are tempered for 6 hours after completing each pass. That is, after completing each pass or heating it at 120 °C, your grains are tempered or they are kept for conditioning for 6 hours after each pass. The pre-conditioned pulses are conveyed to the pearler or dehusker. Dehusker is also called pearler. So after conditioning, these grains are conveyed to your dehusker, where almost all pulses are dehusked in a single operation. So this is the advantage. See, first of all, less time is required, because when we are treating it with water or oil, a lot of time is required in soaking and then conditioning. But in this case, we are directly heating or we are directly providing dry heat treatment, and after that, like only with 6 hours of conditioning or tempering in 2 passes, so you can directly send it to the dehusker, where almost all pulses are dehusked in a single operation, while in previous traditional methods we need to pass it 2 to 8 times, and every time we need to recovery was only 10 to 25%, which are further separated from split pulses and mixture of husk, broken and powder. Okay, so as usual in dehusking, you will get a mixture of your dehusked pulses, split grains, and some powder, and also with husk will be present. So with sieving, it need to be cleaned out or separated, then again repeat the process. Splitting is done by impact method in this case also. So after your pulses have been dehusked, so some of the moistened pulse grain which form lumps, so these lumps have to be broken down before these are sent to splitting. So during your dehusking operation, lumps will be formed. So after dehusking or pearling, so you need to send these lumps, or like after sieving, your lumps will be separated out, right? So these lumps have to be sent to lump breaker in order to break the lumps into separate pulses. After breaking the lumps, the grains are conditioned and split after drying in a LSU type dryer for few hours, followed by splitting in a emery roller, which are finally graded into grade 1 pulses, dehusked whole pulses, and small broken. That is, after breaking the lumps, the grain are conditioned. Okay, they are kept for some time and split after drying. They are again dried in a LSU type dryer for few hours, followed by splitting using an emery dryer, or emery roller. These are passed through an emery roller, which will provide a sort of mild abrasion in order to finally split the cotyledons into separate half. And after that, after splitting, these pulses are finally they are graded based on the size of the grain, like grade 1 pulse, which will contain whole cotyledon, and then broken ones, and then dehusked whole pulses, that in which only the husk has been removed and cotyledons have not been split. Right, so these are dehusked whole pulses. So this is your CFTRI method of pulse milling, which is like very simple by providing dry heat treatment compared to your traditional method. So that was all in this lecture. I hope you got to learn something new about pulse milling. Thank you.